Okay, I'm Gwen Holly, and this is my mom, Kara, and I'm going to read you a quote. That the sacred scriptures are the alone rule of faith and practice to a Christian, all Protestants are agreed in, and must therefore inviolably maintain that every Christian has a right of judging for himself what he is to believe and practice in religion according to that rule, which I think, on a full examination, you will find perfectly inconsistent with any power in the civil magistrate to make any penal laws in matters of religion. A man may alienate some branches of his property and give up his right in them to others, but he cannot transfer the rights of conscience, unless he could destroy his rational and moral powers, or substitute some other to be judged for him at the tribunal of God. Elisha Williams. So, what's your immediate takeaway from the quote?
Immediate takeaway is that he believes that you cannot legislate morality.
Okay. So some background on Elisha. He was a member of the Connecticut legislature. He was elected Speaker of the House, and he was Yale's rector for many years. He was a minister, and he kind of set the basis for the First Amendment with his ideas. So do you think that the separation of church and state is important?
Yes. Very important.
Why?
It's important because what we choose to believe is a personal thing, as far as how we became who we are and why we're here. And that's a choice that's made as you get older, as you become an adult. And for that to be mandated, that you can only think and believe this, is suffocating.
Okay. So this is the 16th century before the Revolution. And Elisha was called a radical for his beliefs because there was still really no separation between civil and religious authority. They were the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think it felt to have them tell you how to practice your religion?
Well, when was that quote taken? When was that before the Revolution? Okay. And the reason that the Pilgrims came to America was to escape the rule of the church. And coming to America, establishing a new country where religion was not the rule of the law of whatever. Thinking that you were going to have a new beginning in a different way of life, only to find out, well, this is still how it is, and we still want you still have to think this way, and you can't do this, you can't think that, you can't believe that. I would imagine they were very disenfranchised and disappointed in that realization.
Yeah, well, during this time, they had the government, like, not all the branches of Christianity had like, that not all of them like looked to the government leaders as head of the church, but they were head of the church, and they kind of all accepted that, like, what they said went when it came to religion. So this quote is based on the Protestant principle sola scriptura, and that means that the Bible should be the sole authority for faith and practice. Do you agree with that? that if you're practicing Christianity, that the Bible should be where you get all your rules and information. Not rules, but like...
It should influence your beliefs.
Yeah.
Be the influence of your beliefs.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember that the Bible was written as an interpretation by man. It is not, it wasn't the hand of God writing down on a slate. It was an interpretation. So you have to take that into consideration. And 500 people could read a single scripture and have 500 different interpretations of what it means. So to say that it is the one true word, it's going to mean something different to every person, no matter what their religion is.
Yeah. So, why do you think it's important that someone within the church, because he was a minister, had these ideas, the separation ideas?
Well, I think he probably recognizes that in the church, while they are all of the same religion, they are all individuals with different ideas and different perspectives. And to tell a group of his parishioners, you can only think this way, you can only believe this, you can only do that. It's hard to, religion is not a one size fits all.
So now that we do have the freedom of religion in America, do you think that there's still kind of like there are still ways that certain people in power try to influence interpretation of the Bible among the people of America?
Yeah, especially since 2016, 2020. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many laws or bills that have been presented. Some have been turned into law. Even in Kentucky, it's happened, where religion was the sole base of the bill or the law.
I wanted to talk about the property analogy in this quote. It says, "A man may alienate some branches of his property and give up his right in them to others, but he cannot transfer the rights of conscience unless he could destroy his rational and moral powers." What do you think how do you interpret that part?
I interpret that as we are in this world, on this earth, for a limited amount of time. And while we're here, we acquire tangible things that we can keep, things that we can throw away, things that we can give away. But there is a part of us as humans that we can't. You can't hold it in your hand. It's ideas, it's beliefs, it's your thoughts, your opinions, and while those things can be challenged by other people, by institutions, that part of us can be molded. We can't give that away. We can't give our humanity away, because we are human when we're born, we are human when we die, and all of the things that go along with being a human.
So what are your final thoughts on Elisha Williams and his quote?
Well, I've taught you and your brother both a lot about having a choice, and having the power of choice is what sets us apart from animals. In East of Eden, the word timshel, the original Hebrew, is thou mayest, but it's interpreted in the Bible in Genesis as King James is thou thou shalt conquer over sin, which is, it's a promise. You're going to conquer over sin, and how disappointing it is when you realize that that's not always true, because we fail. In other versions of the Bible, it's interpreted as thou doest thou conquer over sin, which is a command. And it's living in fear. If you don't conquer over sin, something terrible is going to happen. But the original translation was thou mayest conquer over sin, which thou mayest not. But we have the choice to do that. And I think that's where he's coming from, is that while what you believe might be rooted in the Bible, and that might be your source of knowledge in matters of religion, it's at the end of the day, you still have a choice whether to believe it or not.
Okay. That's our interview. Thank you for listening.